Hi, so welcome to part 2 of the IMR for Friday 17th Feb, and we're looking at movers and shakers in the Indian markets. And what I want to do quickly here, like last week, is look at some nice setups that we could look at in the coming week, especially on the FNO side. But before that, let me just review a few trades that we discussed last week, which went off quite well, and some of the folks made a good amount of money. If you remember, one of the trades we discussed last week was just dial, right? And this is a pretty typical head and shoulder bottom pattern after a pretty long downtrend, and well, very nicely the stock has obliged, the pattern has obliged, and it has indeed gone up. So right now, almost closing at the week's high of 461. If you had done this trade even with one lot, you would have probably made about 30 or 35,000 rupees just holding it even now. Like I think I mentioned, 320 to 400, so 480 is the target. That's not very far away. So after almost 4.5%, 5.1% move today, one more 5.5% move today will easily take it to 580, and then 495, 500 is an important resistance. So there's still steam left in this. For those of us who missed the trade, I don't think this is over. As a matter of fact, the evidence builds that higher prices are definitely possible, right? And this is where we are with respect to that. Okay, so this is still very much there. Then looking at the other one was Jubilant Food. Right, so that one was a flag, and this was one of the big concerns or issues, that a triple resistance, as in 1,000 rupees psychological mark, a 2-year downtrend line, and the 200-day moving average. It's not actually been able to break through that yet, has gone down, and what it has done is just more consolidation, and so this flag is still not invalid, or has the potential to still go up. Basically 102, 1020, 1030, let's say, is really the place to watch out for. If it can break that, then we can expect much higher levels. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, almost, yes, I should have mentioned in the previous session, next week is expiry week, so just 4 days into trading, also a good week to consider rollovers, etc. So this was one. The other sort of stock we've been tracking quite a lot and began to move this week is Reliance Industries, and just to keep reiterating what we've been talking about, there is this big triangle, right, which is there since 2008-9, and if this breaks, then we are definitely in for some sort of a big move. Looks like it is setting itself up for that. By the looks of it, this up move is becoming steeper, faster. Let me put that line up to indicate what I'm talking about. Or you know what, let's make this a line chart. So yeah, that's where it is, right? So this is the line chart, and we're doing quite well. So let's see where this goes, and if 1100 breaks, then I think definitely a big move is possible, right? So the markings here, by the way, what you see are Elliott wave markings, and on that note, just saying that quite possible we'd have some Elliott Wave, of course, coming up sometime soon. So mark your calendars for that, or rather watch for the announcement, obviously. All right, so looks like this up move on the Reliance waiting to break out. So all these three really, of course, just Jubilant Foods did not, but these two really did what was expected of them. And the other big mover was, Bank Nifty, which really went up in the way that we had hoped for and expected. So, yep, those are the trades. Just to point out of one or two, I think, of special interest this week, based on what that one could, look at next week. One would be, I think, VEDL, Vedanta. Okay. This is daily chart, and what's important in Vedanta is that you've got this, rising wedge, and if this rising wedge were to break down, then we could actually have a pretty fast down move or a pretty rapid crack. So this is a stock which has more than doubled in the last less than about 7-8 months. So still upside possible. There is no doubt about that. But watch out. You never know. The volumes are still very much on the buying side. That's also there from the indicators on the volume side, volume indicators that you can see below. And can't rule out further higher levels, but could crack after that. Okay. So going back to so that's where it is. You can see the big Marubozu Thursday. Today there's a doji. It's better to wait and watch. All right. So this was one. The other one of, I think, important to look at is HDFC Bank. So HDFC Bank, you have this massive big opening. This is why the Bank Nifty really, opened up with a crazy thing, and then a big cool off 1450 to 1377, and this is a massive bulk deal. And honestly, this is just going to mess up all the analysis on the volume side for HDFC Bank for quite a long time to come. So this was some I don't know what, maturing, I don't remember, but yeah, so this is just really crazy. So HDFC Bank really, making life highs, no doubts about that. We should take that up there. All right, and that's the whole life high. Could come back to about 1330, and then who knows, go back up. So the only thing is just wait and watch. It's one of those multi-bagger banks, 10 rupees in 2000 or thereabouts, and now it is 1200 or 1300, right? 130 times it has gone up. Okay. Yeah. So that's HDFC Bank, and that's where the Bank Nifty behaved basically like that. I think in terms of others, okay, in the same, they didn't really. Okay. So looking at some of the movers and shakers, and I think we've got some, I was going through this before the IMR, and surprising as to some of the ones which I don't know whether we mentioned about 2-3 weeks back, but nevertheless. So one thing that moved massively today was JP Associates, 9.9%. It's at almost 15 rupees. And if you look at JP Associates here, just like this, because it's so much cleaner, right? So JP Associates, reality infrastructure play, both those indices, sort of going up quite nicely. Stock has come off from a life low of 5 rupees 30 paisa in June last year, and now it is 15 rupees stock. Last week, remember, I think this is where we had seen it. What's most notable on this chart are the volumes that happened, not even in July last year, but to focus on the volumes more recently. Jan, big move, moved sideways, good consolidation over the 200-day moving average for almost the whole of Jan. Would have been a very frustrating wait and watch, wait and watch, wait and watch. And then from 10 rupees at the end of, or at the beginning of Feb to mid-Feb, it's gone up by 50%. That's, big, massive, massive move. There's no doubt about that. So JP Associates likely to keep going higher, in my opinion. It's definitely done a massive technical turnaround. You have the head and shoulder bottom in the weekly chart, and please note that the head and shoulder bottom is almost 2 years wide in terms of time. So you have just the breakout happening this week, and by the looks of it, another 10 rupees from here to 30 rupees is a distinct possibility. Of course, like I keep saying, if something like this 100% move happens in even 1 year, that's fine with me. So that is something that is distinctly possible. So that's JP Associates for you to keep an eye on. You could buy it in the spot also. Not too late. Do note it may come down to 10 rupees. That's almost a 30% correction from where it is right now. If the overall market's correct, should not rule out this falling. But in terms of, I think, long-term strength, this definitely has some good potential to go up. Right? So for those of us with a 6 months plus 1 year time horizon, I would definitely recommend this to have a look at it. You could do some profit booking every few rupees, every 5 rupees if you wish, especially, and then there'll be some sort of a correction, and then you can put your money back in again. But overall, over the multi-month period, this is good. Stop loss is really tough. I mean, if you're an investor, as in you're trying to hold it for quite a long time, then I would say only below 1150. Even then, the thing is, you could even easily come to 10 or even, I would say, 975, and then bounce back up. For traders, well, it's going to be a tough one because especially on the FNO side, the lot size, not sure exactly how much it is. So let's have a look. To say 68,000 is the lot size. Would you be prepared to see 1450 become 12? That's 2.5 rupees. 68 and 1.4, almost 3 lakh, no, 2 lakh drop, almost 2 lakh drop here before it recovered and then made a lot of money. So tough one, that's for sure. All right. Okay. Right. So this is the one to track for. I think for those of us who cannot handle that massive mark to market, just take your thing in spot and leave it. Right. So that was one. Then we had JP Power along with this. Right. So power, what's really special about it, in a sense, is that looks like it's coming out of its lifetime low. So that is, so just to make it clearer, let's look at it in a even monthly chart. You can see the big drop in the stock, just to keep it very, very clean. you can see this big drop from this is a downtrend line which is just going to travel off into space. Okay, this is one which was there, very steep fall, which has now gone into a sideways channel, right? So this is a monthly chart, remember that, and you can see a sort of sideways channel forming. This could be, so this is about 1.5 years sideways channel that we are seeing. If you look at it on the weekly chart, okay, let me do one thing. Okay, this is going to take a bit of a time. Okay, let me not waste IMR time on this. So yeah, so this is a important low here, as you can see, right? And what you can clearly make out is this big move from 4 rupees to 6 rupees, and then a massive correction from almost 7 rupees 680 to 5 rupees, and then this big up move. So JP Power really, something cooking, no doubt about it. Amazing volumes, end of Feb or end of Jan, mid Feb, and then this recovery. So clearly accumulation going on. You can also see it in the EVT, OBV indicators at the bottom. And once this level is taken out at around 8 rupees, then you could perhaps see a much bigger move that will come there. So as good as any, I think, to sort of enter or buy now. It could easily go from 7 rupees here to 8, and then 10, and then who knows, even much higher levels of 20 rupees. Right? So that's JP Power for you, one important thing to track. So JP Associates, JP Power, of course the same promoter group, and one would be well versed in tracking that. One other thing to, I think, of useful note is to look at two stocks here from that movers list today. Petronet, right? So the thing about Petronet is that it's taking a new life high. Okay, I think it's on its way to make a new life high. It's come to 400 from 380, 400. So this high there was 405, and today's high was 403. So in terms of closing prices, virtually identical, just off by 2 rupees, 0.5%. But after consolidating for about 6 months, this I believe is more likely to break out than to break down. So this is another, I think, very good mover for the coming week. If this does indeed break out, also note that all these stocks, could very well correct if the market corrects. Don't forget the elections. Just only wondering whether the JP moves have anything to do with the elections in UP. Right? Okay, no idea about that, but all right, if 400 breaks, then anything 10-20 rupees up moves all the way to 500, I think is a very distinct possibility, right? So definitely something to track. On the pharma side, we said in the first session about pharma, looks like the worst days might be over. We're looking at Sun Pharma here, and looking at Sun Pharma, some volume today and yesterday of interest, but I'm just wondering whether this is enough for us to go in and buy. Not really convinced. Looking at the volume stuff, definitely a high risk long trade. Could also go short. It is exactly at the 100-day moving average, more or less. Just 1 or 2 rupees beside that side. If it does break 680, I think 700, 720 is easily possible. Given the sort of Marubozu type candles yesterday and today, I would be more inclined that it goes up. And what's interesting is MACD has just crossed the zero line over the last 1 or 2 weeks. So that is definitely, I think, looking to try and move up. Interesting. So interesting is what? Interesting is MACD crossover in the weekly chart. In the negative zone, so it's from the minus 31, minus 39, it has now become minus 24. So clearly this could be going to 700, 730 is a distinct possibility for those of us who have a longer term view. But this is good. This could I'm just thinking of an Elliott wave count on this, and somehow doesn't seem very not a neat fit right now. Okay, let me. Oh, shaking my head. These Marubozu things, we had volumes here in mid-Feb. We're getting volume here today. Some bad news last week, midweek, and then looks like a recovery. All right, no shorting on this is my opinion. A long is distinctly possible. Right. Okay, let me look at. All right, let's look at Divi's Lab. Let's look at some other pharma spaces because it's showing strength. Right, so Divi's Lab, something major, I'm not sure what. I vaguely remember reading the news, this big some news. Clearly, this is, I think, okay, that's how I would put it. A potential sort of vague head and shoulder bottom that has formed in Divi's Lab. The volume picture is not completely in favor or bullish in terms of the volume and the neckline, but nevertheless it's good enough to look at, and if it breaks 775, then we could easily get 850 or even 900 on Divi's Lab. Won't happen quickly, but it's there lurking. Looking at Dr. Reddy's, wow, I was definitely not expecting to see such a massive hammer on Dr. Reddy's. This is very, very unusual to see that sort of a hammer. This is almost 99% a buy signal. We don't have a confirmation yet, but these sort of hammers are really exceptional. Right, there you have one. There was one there, right? And then this is a weekly chart. So stock which was nice double top at 4,400 has come down to 2,800. Stayed more or less there, give or take 100, 200 rupees for about 1 year. Too early to say that it is going up. Please note this hammer. It went up for 2 weeks and then just collapsed back within a week. And then again you had a lot of this sideways movement. So you could just see a repeat of that. The definitive buy for Dr. Reddy's would only be about 3,180, 3,200. That is when it will become really a good buying opportunity. Till then, really nothing to talk about. Okay, so that's Dr. Reddy's. Again, for long-term people, yes, but I think for short-term traders, this is actually probably a good one to trade till 3,000 or 2,990 on the spot, and then probably close your long there. But watch next week. It hasn't given a confirmation. It may come to 2,850 or something like that, and then you'll probably see one gradual slow, turnaround or a sudden Marubozu candle. Either way, you see the gradual turnaround or the Marubozu candle. Just go in and buy. 2,950, 2,975, 3,000 are all distinct possibilities. And after 3,000 breaks, well, in steps of 50, I would look at all the way to 3,100 and then review after that. One big mover in this is not mover, Biocon. So that stock is just making new life highs and new life highs and new life highs. So it's at 1,105 right now. But there you go. Okay, so sort of a double top at 1,100. Wait and watch, but I think the trend is more or less up. Yep, little bit of weakness on RSI, but that's okay. The trend is more or less up, and it should go up with a nice trend line, and that nice trend line is this. All right. All right. So the nice trend line is there, and if for some reason it corrects back to about 1,000, that would probably be a good opportunity to buy this stock. Interesting. 550, it has gone up and doubled and really not come back down. So that's one thing to remember. At some point, it will come back down to 575. That's half of the price it is right now. That time, it will definitely be an amazing buying opportunity, assuming the fundamentals have not, changed or deteriorated. That's one thing to keep a watch on. Interesting. Decreasing volumes on the way up on the weekly chart, and I missed it on the. It's not showing up on the daily, but it is showing up on the weekly, which is definitely a bearish divergence. Okay. All right. So that's interesting. So we have clearly bearish divergences on the weekly chart on Biocon. You would be well advised to actually stay away from that. Okay. All right. So this is Interesting. So Biocon has a limited upside, I would say, and then after that, it'll probably be a good opportunity to short it. So no fresh long positions in Biocon. Look at shorting opportunity at some point later. Okay. Talking about shorting opportunities, since the market itself is sort of top heavy in terms of trends, and you could see some negative news coming out. Let's also look at some potentially other way around stocks. What I mean by that is stocks which could be short or could be a completely different picture. And what is a big surprise this week is definitely Godrej Industries. And if you look at Godrej Industries, what is the most important thing is that it has done a double top. So at 2008, Godrej Industries was at around this price, 467, 470, and went down all the way to 50 bucks, and then nice, very nice double bottom at 50 rupees, and then it has now come back to 487. And today, or rather yesterday, or last week rather, it made a life high, and then this week has been a major correction, right? So here, where is this? What was that? So that should show up in the daily chart. Yes. Okay. So if it comes back to 470, right, Godrej Industries comes back to 470, we should probably pick it up, I think. And after a multi-year, what, 8-9 year double top breakout, I don't think this has stopped at all, and this is probably a new trend that is beginning, or it's going to attract a lot of bullishness in the months or years ahead. So quarters ahead rather. Be good to do a fundamental review of such companies. So this one easily, I think, is potentially a 1,000 rupee stock in 6 months to a year. Right? Could easily go there. Also be prepared for moves like 470 to 380. Oh, by the way, since we just discussed some big hammer in the one of the previous charts, which one was that? Sun, right? Sun Pharma, not Sun Pharma. Yes. Somebody help me. Thank you, Sudeep. Sudeep is here. Nice. DRL. So we had this big, hammer there, and we said almost buy, but then have a look at now. I'm blanking out. What were we looking at? Godrej. Yeah. Okay. This hammer here. Can you see this hammer here? Right. Equally big, impressive hammer there, and no confirmation, and just kept going down way below that low. So some of the perils of technical analysis is something which is guaranteed. So this could, for all you know, not only come down to 470, it could go to 430, it could even come to 380, right? And then turn back up. But I think in the long term, this is going to move 100% from current prices. Long term as in 6 months, 1 year, I don't think it'll take more than that. So every correction should be used to buy, no shorting this at all. Long term, this is a pretty bullish stock, right? So surprise, surprise, that something after 8 years has actually now given us a really fantastic opportunity, right? So these sort of things, one should really not let go of them. Uh, you're not, if you, of course, you search hundreds and thousands of charts, you will find many, but in the FNO or in a limited basket, it's not common to come across so many of these, right? I think we should put one more trend line here. Yes. Right, so some sort of a double trend line. There's a outer one here where it went to, and you can see it came back down. There's an inner outer return line. There's an outer return line too. So these two to be kept in mind as the price progresses. Okay, interesting stuff. So I just chanced upon these while uh, looking in the past. So what else? Sun TV more for discussion rather than anything else. It's so those Maran brothers got a relief, and that's why that stock really had jumped. But earlier high of 550 when they got exempted or something or whatever. It went to 740. That was massive, 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 right? And then now sort of correcting. Whether it comes back to 550, we will have to wait and watch. Really no hurry. And there's this big window there. So though it fell today, another stock which and one watch and at lower levels, if it takes support at 550, close that window, then that's a good buying opportunity. All right. Let's look at quickly some IT stocks and then we'll wind up. TCS, so today big red candle but on low volumes. What's notable about TCS as we speak, and I think we've been carrying this theme for some time now, about amongst the IT which is the better ones, and every time we look at the chart we out of tend to say TCS is better. Even more proof on that today, or rather this week, broke through the 200-day moving averages or the multiple long-term moving averages, consolidated, broke out of the 2420, 2450 mark, and today has sort of corrected on lower volume. If you look at the weekly chart, it's still iffy, I would say, but I think of all the IT companies which we see in the FNO space, this one is looking good. So this could go to 2527, and then we'll have to review after that. Right. So this is TCS. Looking at Wipro. So Wipro doing some similar thing, but below TCS in terms of moving averages, much below in terms of its lifetime high where it was at 660. Now it's at 460, and the biggest I think trade was sometime middle of last year when this 530 broke, and that stock went in quick time to 430, and then even to to 475, and then to even to 420. That was a big head and shoulder breakdown, if you remember. Now, this is giving a sort of downtrend flag. So this is interesting. This is a weekly chart, and on the weekly chart, definitely some amount of weakness is there. So till it breaks above 480.85, caution would be advised on Wipro. Infi, so wow, so Infi showing strength on the weekly chart now, right? Nice tweezers bottom at 900. Okay, there you have it. That's a nice tweezers bottom at 900 weekly. Comes to a resistance of 1010. Okay, there you have it. And the next one is 1025, the 200-day moving average, and if it can break that, then it will gradually keep climbing up. So that's looking interesting on INFI. The issue with Sika and all those other issues are, I think, still hanging in the air, so we'll have to see how that pans out. Okay. Yeah, so this could also be a buy. Best advice to wait till it breaks out to above 1025, 1030, then you can look at buying it. Those of us who are more aggressive actually came down in very low volumes today. Okay, those of us who are more aggressive could probably enter right now. There is a 100-day moving average right there, a little bit below that 980 or something is your stop loss, and once it clears 1025, you probably see a big sharp up move on INFI. Right? So that, otherwise there is second. Okay, Tech Mahindra 500 resistance zone, and if that breaks, then 575, 600 is a listing possibility. That's also looking good in my opinion, right? So yeah, could definitely be looked at buying it. Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of today's IMR. If there are any specific requests, let me know. We'll look at a couple of stocks and then we can close. Otherwise, I think, like I said, there's some good setups for the coming week. We want to again reiterate Reliance. If it breaks 1100, then there is a potentially, 20-30% up move that could build up there, right? Okay, so with that, we'll come to the end of this session. I shall send up the recording links as soon as you can get them uploaded, definitely by tomorrow lunch if I can, then today. And then let's have a great weekend, relax, review the charts, and get ready for another hopefully good week of trading in the week ahead, right? So thank you very much. Have a great weekend, and good night.